Privet vi degenerati ljubiteli časov. Today I'm showcasing this Vostok 170548 Amphibia, which is fondly nicknamed the PAMphibia because of its style similarities to Panerai. Now, whoever the first one was to come up with this design style is something I don't know, and frankly I don't care. What I do care about is how absolutely beautiful this watch is. I should have bought one years ago. It always caught my attention whenever I saw it online, and I can tell you in the flesh it's even better. Maybe not so much with the strap that it comes with. I can't speak for everyone here, but for myself, I knew before I bought it that I was going to replace it with the retro razor bracelet. That's the style I was looking for, and it turned out exactly how I wanted. I'd love to call this one a budget watch. Unfortunately, these have been going up in price. Looking at older watch reviews, it sounds like these were going for around $100 a few years ago, but now they're hovering in the $200 ballpark. Personally, I spent $193 out the door at buyvostok.com using the 10% discount they offer to first-time buyers. I can't tell you how many times I've made a new email account for the first-time buyer discount codes. At around $200, I don't know if that would be considered budget-friendly, but it's certainly not the same price it used to be. This isn't my first Vostok, but this is the first Vostok that I truly like because of the watch itself, and not because of some stubborn loyalty to beater watches. Straight out of the box, this watch gave me an uncontrollable smile. It has all of those intangible visual nuances that make a watch enjoyable. It's hard to explain with words, but the best way I can describe it is that kind of material warmth you get from vintage charm and the essence of wabi-sabi. I'd say a big part of that comes from the unrefined stainless steel and the pairing of the dial font and acrylic crystal. Usually I'm not a fan of acrylic crystals, but after this watch I can tell you that I'm growing to appreciate it. I still prefer sapphire, but I understand the place acrylic has in the watch community. Without waxing poetic too much, let's talk about the actual objective truths. Firstly, the watch is powered by Vostok's in-house 2415 automatic movement. Like an AK-47, it'll shoot the seconds downrange, perhaps not in the tightest group, but it'll fire every time. It's rated with an accuracy of -20, +60, which in my opinion is good. All that means is that it's going to make sure you're early to everything. It has a power reserve of 31 hours, but my watch has performed a bit better, lasting around a day and a half before calling it quits. Here are the dimensions. It's not the smallest watch in the world. In fact, it's not small at all, and some may find it too big. Personally, I find these turtle-esque type cases forgiving across all wrist sizes, and all I can say is I find it wears perfectly fine on my obese 8-inch wrists. Some other general specifications is it has a stainless steel case, a bidirectional bezel, yes, the bezel does rotate, an acrylic crystal, a screw-down crown, a proprietary screw-down caseback plate, applied lume, and 200 meters of water resistance. Let's take a look at that Lumeshot again. I know you degenerates are all about that Lumeshot. While it's not the longest lasting lume, it is hands down the best performing lume I've experienced out of all of my Vostoks. It may not keep up with Seiko's Lumebrite, but it keeps up long enough to be an overall positive. The crown is gonna be the biggest point of contention here, as it is an acquired taste. Yes, we all know Vostoks have wobbly crowns. And if you're willing to accept the fact that it was designed intentionally that way, then I think you can grow to appreciate the deliberate thought process that went into it. It's important to understand that when transitioning from the second position to the first position, you have to fully screw in the crown and then unscrew it to get back to the hand-winding position. So, if we are to look at the crown as it was meant to be used, then all I can say is it performs exactly as it should. The threading is smooth, and it feels solidly connected to the mainspring. The caseback is the best thing ever, and I will die on this hill. Vostok designed a unique two-piece system utilizing a caseback plate and a threaded locking ring. This means that the torque from the locking ring is never directly applied to the gasket, which completely removes any risk of shearing or damaging it from misalignment or over-tightening. This system also allows for a significantly more robust and durable gasket, as you can see how much more impressive it is than the typical O-ring you'd find on any other watch. The caseback plate itself is keyed, so it's physically impossible to install it incorrectly. This kind of ingenious design is what I live for. It's not hard to understand and extremely user-friendly. If true poetry is saying the most amount of information with the least amount of words, then under that logic, the Vostok Caseback is the perfect example of horological design poetry. The case finishing is great. I like how straightforward it is without being overly decorative. If you look at it as a military watch whose main audience is young corporals or petty officers, it's right where it needs to be. With the majority of the case being brushed, it looks professional and doesn't call for too much attention to itself. The strap is going to be your typical low-end leather strap. I haven't attempted to use mine and I have no intention of ever wearing it. I don't do leather because riskin and leather is gross. Yeah, that's right, I'm talking to you with that leather strap on your wrist. The popular thing to say is that Vostok bracelets and straps are terrible. I won't say that, but I will say that I like it on my own bracelet. To me, it changes the watch completely for the better. And I think that's a good enough overview of the Amphibia. Can you tell that I really like this watch? I might become a Vostok fanboy because of it, and for what I think are objectively good reasons. The unique crown and caseback systems earn my respect as I appreciate the deliberate effort to identify a problem and create a solution. It's so brutally effective, and in a world where we're constantly bombarded with snake oil and flowery bullshit, it's refreshing to see something like this. And while I usually don't put much value in anything in-house, it's still nice to have a watch that utilizes a completely unique in-house process in this price range. How many other brands offer that kind of introduction into watches? I don't know, probably not many. And don't get me wrong, I'm not crazy about all Vostoks, and they definitely aren't perfect. All I can say is some watches are more than just what you can see on the surface. This Amphibia has a depth and charm that resonates with me, and at least for now, this is my favorite watch purchase of the last year. That's all I have for now. Stay classy. I sure as hell won't.